To ask you a little bit about your weekend adventure in Canada and how that changed the direction of your life.
You're watching the Spotlight Network, starring Hollywood's newsman, Logan Crawford.
They now believe a single member.
He works with TV and film legends. And now, Logan's shining the spotlight on the world's top emerging authors and creators.
International were abducted.
This is Spotlight with Logan Crawford, streaming on Roku, Apple TV, and Amazon Fire TV.
What happens when a teenage journey abroad opens the door to a lifetime of travel, self-discovery, and an unexpected love across the border? I'm Logan Crawford, and right now we are joined by Margot Stornelli. She is here to discuss her beautiful book. It is called Big Red Suitcase. It's her memoir about growing up between America and Europe, adapting to new cultures, and finding the courage to build a new life in Canada. We're delighted to have this very talented author join us here today. We thank the team for helping us put her on TV today, and we ask viewers like you to support authors like her by subscribing to our channel and by purchasing her amazing book. The links are below this interview. Margot, thank you so much for joining me here today.
Thank you for having me.
Talk to us about the Big Red Suitcase, not necessarily the book, but the object itself and what it meant for you when you were packing it up and taking it abroad.
Well, it's been a very good companion. Actually, it's not the actual suitcase that I used 50 years ago, but I have had it in my possession for about 20 years now. And it's like I keep it by my bed because I never know when I'm going to be taken off on another adventure.
Exactly. And this lust for adventure, this love for adventure and travel began when you were how old?
Well, my trip to Europe was age 17, my senior year of high school. But before that, my parents took us on annual vacations every summer to various places. The most memorable was the White Mountains in New Hampshire, climbing the presidential range and sleeping in the huts at the top of the mountains. We did that for probably 10 years. And I know my father continued doing that with my younger brothers after I left home. Yeah. We also went skiing every winter. And when I was 11 years old was our first trip to Europe as a family, 4 kids between the ages of 10 and 15, plus my parents. And we flew to Zurich, took a train to Stuttgart, picked up a red Mercedes, and traveled all around Central Europe for a month. It was the best memory of my life.
Yeah, it sounds wonderful.
Growing up.
It's sort of like, you've opened up a whole new world when you go to Europe. The United States is beautiful and has a lot to offer, but Europe is different. I mean, you can get from country to country so easily, and it's much, much older.
Yeah.
And there's something really magical about it. So that's when your love affair began. It was after graduation of high school, and your family went to Europe for a month. That's a huge trip back then. What year was that?
That was 1967.
Wow. That's good. My mom and dad were doing okay to be able to take the whole family in 1967
my
to Europe for a month.
mom had a little travel book called Europe on $5 a day.
That's great. I remember those books. Let's Go Europe, Europe on $5 a day. And it really had great tips on how to find little inns and stuff that were affordable and restaurants that were affordable. And it was great. Talk to us about writing this book and what it felt like traveling down memory lane as you wrote The Big Red Suitcase.
Well, I first got inspired about 3 years ago when my daughter had her first baby. And I just decided I needed to leave some sort of legacy for my grandchildren. And I went online. I started listening to all kinds of people talking about memoirs and writing in general. And tuning in to meetings with 150 other people every Thursday night. And about a year later, I decided I better start writing because I was getting older, and who knows how much longer it was going to be that I'd be living. And then I found some other people who were actual writing coaches, and I connected with two that were here in Canada, one in Ottawa and one in BC. And I learned how to write. I mean, it'd been 50 years since I'd been in school, and I didn't know where to start, where to end, and
Well, I think that's great. I think working with a writing coach, getting professional help, continuing your education at any age is great.
yeah.
It's exhilarating.
Mhm.
There's nothing more wonderful, I think, than creating something and crafting your life story in a book for the generations to come. What was great great grandma really like? Now you've written the book, and I think that's wonderful.
I mean,
Talk to us about the student exchange program you got involved with at a young age.
it's called Youth for Understanding. They've been around since the 1950s, and they are still doing exchanges today, from what I found online. Um, it's a very extensive process of, matching students to families, making sure that we, connect and
Yeah,
everything.
exactly. What
Get
country
along.
did you go to? What was that family like?
And it was, um, they they try to match American students with European families, or actually families all around the world, um, who's who are also sending students abroad.
Wonderful. What country did you go to, and what was the family like that
Originally,
you stayed
I
with?
was assigned to a family in Antwerp, Belgium,
Hmm.
and I was there for the first summer. Unfortunately, I really didn't feel I got along with them, so and the organization had monthly retreats in different cities. And so when I went to a monthly retreat in August, I spoke to a counselor, and you know, he said, "You're coming home, living with me, with my family, until I find you another family." And I only had a weekend bag of clothes with me at the time.
Exactly, exactly. What do
But
you think some of the life lessons were learned from living abroad?
um,
Lessons that you wouldn't have necessarily learned by, being at home with your parents. I guess you had to learn a little bit about independence. You had to understand and appreciate different cultures, and you
well,
also had to sink or swim. You're on your own there, right?
yeah, learning how to get along with other people was a big one. Especially, people that didn't speak this. Well, they did speak English, but their mother tongue, of course, was Dutch.
Yeah.
Learning the language of Dutch, because I had French in high school and Spanish. Um, and just adapting to their culture and lifestyle. It was a very small town, village in the northern part of the Netherlands. Much different from what I was used to back home in Rochester. I
Yeah.
grew up in Rochester, New York, the home of Kodak.
Yep. Exactly. Yeah. And Sal's
Um,
Birdland, I think that's in Rochester also.
yeah.
From my time at the University of Rochester visiting friends. It's
Yeah.
you like cold places. You're in Canada and Rochester. Let me ask you a little bit about your weekend adventure in Canada and how that changed the direction of your life.
Um, I was 21 at the time. I was actually living in an apartment in Rochester and working at a local hospital, and connected with an old family friend. Uh, and we just decided, one day, let's start going on weekend trips, to places. She wanted to go to New York City, and, we looked into it, and I said, no, it's too expensive and too far away. And I was the one with the car and driving. And I said, I'm not driving 7 or 8 hours to that place. And then the next time we met, I said, how about let's go to Toronto? It's only 3 hours away. My mom and I and my sister had been there several times for shopping. And so, yeah, we looked into it, and that's where we went. We went to a disco. It was the late 70s when discos were popular.
Yeah. I'm doing my little disco dance. Yeah.
And we met, we was standing in line. Some guys behind us, offered us a cigarette. We refused, and then we just started talking, and we went in with them, and I ended up with one of them.
That's
And
funny.
married him 3 years later.
Amazing, amazing, amazing. What was it like relocating to Canada? I mean, I know you were close. You're in Rochester, so it's not that different, but still, it is a different country once you get there. And you're already saying things like a boot. You already sound like a Canadian. So, what
Well,
was
I've
it
been
like?
here, it's
What's
almost
that?
7 years that I've been here now.
It's been a long time. Exactly, exactly.
Um,
Was it difficult at first?
Not really, but at the time that I came here, 79, 1980, they were switching over to the metric system.
Hmm.
Um, they had a few words that were different from Americans, like washroom for bathroom.
Yeah.
Uh, they said A instead of an EHA
Yeah.
instead of, or wow, or,
Yeah.
of
Yeah.
course, the expressions Americans use. Um,
Exactly. Yeah, well, you
and
might be an American again if Canada becomes our 51st state, You might be part of the back in the fold. You never know it'll happen, right?
Well, it was actually, like I said, I've been here over 40 years, but it took me about 37 years to decide to get my Canadian citizenship.
Okay. All
When
right.
I,
Well, we'll take you back anyway. Don't worry. Even if you became a Canadian citizen, you're all are welcome. I'm just
well,
kidding, of
well, I
course.
do carry two passports. I never gave up my American
Okay, there you
citizenship.
go. There you go. You got both.
And I
That's
use both
wonderful.
of them when I cross the border in and then when I come back.
Exactly, exactly. Wonderful, wonderful. Talk to us before we leave you today a little bit about writing this, putting all those memories down on the pages.
Um, well, I couldn't find all my diaries. I had one diary from a trip to Europe that I took after the year abroad. So I use that mainly as my base for describing daily life when I was in Europe. And so it was all by memory. I've kept in touch with one of the sisters and two friends from the school for the last 50 years. We've exchanged birthday and Christmas cards, and we've also visited each other a couple of times in both Canada and Europe. And it was just one of those years of my life that I just never forgot. And I just started writing things down and then connecting the dots, and it eventually became a story.
Awesome. Well, we're glad it became a story. We're glad that story became a book. The book is called The Big Red Suitcase. It is written by Margot Stornelli. It's a memoir about how a teenage exchange program abroad sparked a lifelong journey of travel, cultural discovery, friendship, love, resilience, and the courage to create a new home in another country. Margot, thank you so much for joining me here today.
Thank you.
I appreciate your time, your insight, your talent, and the wonderful work you've done on this book. To the folks at home, I'm Logan Crawford, thanking you for your time, this time. Until next time.